the Trillion Trees podcast hosted by Saad Allahwala. Join the movement. 1 trillion trees by 2030. Tune in for inspiring stories, groundbreaking ideas, and real solutions to tackle climate change. Listen to it. Watch every Saturday, 4 p.m. Make an impact now.
Where do you see this going? Where do you see it taking you in the long term?
Organic farming is a thing that is growing internationally. So we see ourselves on the right track. We provide a home composting unit to households as well. It's called the Eco Khamba. So the land is already degraded, and there's no other resort to replenish the soil other than using some kind of organic inputs.
What's the demographics of Pakistan?
Karachi produces 12,000 to 15,000 tons of waste every day. Total that, so this becomes like more than 30,000 tons a day. So we're also exploring to export compost to Middle Eastern countries because they're also farming in those countries.
We're still buying natural gas. We do have the potential to create an exactly equal amount of methane gas that can be burned.
The vision behind TrashIt, we both were living in Karachi and we used to see it every single day as we move around. Once it gets mixed, within 24 hours, it becomes impossible to segregate it after it is collected.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another podcast. Today in the Trillion G podcast, we have a very special guest. Someone who's extremely young and has a very vibrant energy. He's been doing a lot. I mean, I've been seeing his organization for a very long time. Online, offline, in so many places. And his organization named TrashIt. A very funny thing at start when it's the first time you think about it or hear about it. But eventually when you actually get to learn more about what they're doing and how they're doing it, when I actually got to know more about their organization, especially about Rahul and what he's doing, it's an amazing journey that they have. And just yesterday we were together for like 14 hours. And we got to learn a lot about each other, a lot about our ideas. But I still don't know about him. Where is he really from? I've forgotten about it again. I'm so sorry. But where were you brought up? How did TrashIt actually start? What did you study? I want to get into all of that. And then eventually about what your vision is with TrashIt. If it aligns with Trillion Trees, then definitely how we can work together and explore all those ideas. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me your time on such a busy day. I hope your chai helps you, but I'm really excited to talk to you and learn more about you, and for our audience to really get to know more about the emerging ecosystem in the sustainability space, not just the developed, existing, huge companies that there are, but the companies that are about to become huge, also about them. So thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Saad, for generous introduction. So let's start by talking about TrashIt.
But I want to learn about you first. So okay. I want to learn about Rahul. Who is Rahul?
So Rahul was born in Tandojam, a small town near Hyderabad. So the prominent attraction for Tandojam is the Agriculture University that we all know about. So we moved to Karachi for like 22 years ago when my father wanted to grow in the game and see the education for his children. So he wanted to move to a bigger city so that education is more accessible. So we moved here in Karachi in like 2003, and I graduated high school from Karachi, and then I qualified my certificate in management accounting. It's a US-based certification, and then I graduated law as well from Karachi University. So TrashIt was basically born on a startup weekend that happened for the first time in Karachi at the Nest.io in 2017.
Nest.io actually held it, and was it like partnered with someone? Was it like Techstars or something?
Yes,
It was Techstars?
Yes.
Okay.
So Startup Weekend is the concept of
Yeah.
the Techstars. So it's a global thing that happens all around the world. So it happened for the first time in Karachi. We went there as like someone. So we went there. All of the people that came to that event came up with some kind of ideas that we pitched at the event, and it was the format is such that if you can gather support for your idea, you get to the next level. I really liked this idea pitched by Anusha at Startup Weekend, and then we.
So you were just visiting, or you were part of the event?
I was part of the event. I was pitching another idea at that time.
What was that?
So
the cab one? The food delivery one?
The sports one that we were discussing yesterday.
Okay. So many ideas, no?
Yeah. So that was an interesting idea that we wanted to connect people who wanted to play different kind of sports. So it's like Uber for sports that I pitched at that time. So wasn't able to gather support. And then I was actually into this different social activities since 2012, I believe. So I used to volunteer with some NGOs, some social organizations in different segments. So we helped the community center train individuals to build their own businesses. That was back in 2013. So I think it was an organization known as Pehla Kadam. So, and we did a lot of tree plantation campaigns, traffic awareness campaigns, and so on and so forth. A lot in waste management as well. So the thing eventually actually started from there only. So this thing came up in 2017. I really liked it and was like aligning with the vision as well, because we all know Karachi has a lot of waste, and more than 50% of waste is organic. And this is something that no one was focusing on at that time. Not even today, actually. So we wanted to do something in that segment, because organic waste is a household thing. Every household generates it. So there has to be some kind of solution, especially in a country like Pakistan. So yeah.
So you mentioned some things about your business, but it doesn't really clarify what TrashIt is. What is TrashIt?
Okay, so primarily TrashIt is collecting organic waste and converting into fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer that is used for farming purposes. So initially we started off with households, and we were collecting waste from households, restaurants, and different corporates. But that was like something very difficult to scale, because it requires a mass level of awareness in different communities, and we all know that requires a very strong muscle at the back end, and we did not have that. So only last year we ventured into this agri-waste thing. This is something that is like comparatively easily accessible, and what we have figured out that building the facility on a farmer's premises is more relevant and more cost effective, because all the agri-waste is generated from the farm. So the logistics cost is cut down, labor is cheap, processing cost is low. So everything like fell in place. So last year we started 2 more facilities. So we have one facility in Karachi since 2019, and we started 2 new facilities, one in Bahawalpur and one in Rauki near Hyderabad last year only. So it has been like 4-5 months that we have initiated things there, and things are going on quite well. So we have engaged with different farmers in those communities, and we are trying to help them divert their organic waste, because organic waste is like it's a major source of producing methane and other greenhouse gases. So it's polluting the environment in some way or the other, whether it be dumping it on a dump site or open burning of that waste. So we're trying to help that majorly.
That's really nice. So Rahul, you mentioned that you guys initially what the plan was that you're collecting organic waste from some sort of a source within an urban area. So let's say Karachi, and you're converting that into a fertilizer. Who's the consumer of that fertilizer? Is that compost or just fertilizer?
So Compost is a fertilizer that is used for farming. So we are primarily targeting farmers in the areas that facilities are located in, and we have a huge clientele of household customers in Karachi. So we have more than 6,000 clients in Karachi that we have provided compost to.
How many are active clients?
So must be more than 1,000.
Wow, that's crazy to see. Where it's always fascinating to see that Karachi being such a huge city, and every day we think that okay, I've seen all of it, but then the next day you learn about some sort of a different perspective that comes from someone else, of a whole different planet or a whole different business that's actually operating within this enormous city. So it's always fun to live here. I don't know. Thought I bring it up. But coming to more large scale products or services provided by TrashIt. And of course, I'm asking all of this just to learn more about what he does. He hasn't paid me anything yet, so I can't do a lot of endorsement. I won't be doing it. But if there's genuinely something that's good in the society, like producing good in the society, we should learn about it and then see what are some areas for growth for them and for us through them. So again, going to the larger perspective of what TrashIt is offering, what else is there you guys are offering other than just producing compost and having your large scale compost facilities within agriculture fields?
Okay, so at TrashIt, we are trying to build some sort of ecosystem that focuses primarily on waste management, and then it helps the environment in other ways as well. So corporates form a very prominent part of this urban society. So we try to help them in creating awareness within their organizations and outside the organization with their support. So we have partnered with quite a few corporates and ran awareness sessions in their offices. And with their support, we have also targeted some communities in creating awareness about waste, what waste is, how we can better dispose it, and help their communities be more clean and like more child friendly. So children can play outside and
so like recreational activities.
Yeah. So because as we see most parts of Karachi, we have dump site at every nook and corner.
Yeah.
So
Just
that is like there. Whenever you drive to any area, you see whether it be a posh area or any marginalized community. So it's everywhere. So waste is a primary challenge in a city, especially like Karachi, and we need a lot of intervention to address this. So what we at TrashIt do, we provide a home composting unit to households as well. So it's up on our website. It's called the Eco Khamba.
Eco Khamba,
yeah. Okay. So it's either 3 pots stacked one on another, and you use it in phases. So you fill pot 1. When the pot 1 is filled, you bring it down and take pot 2 on pot 1 place, and then you fill pot 2. And when both are filled, you empty pot 1 and pot 3 and leave it. So over time, in the next 2-3 months, your compost is ready. You mix it often, you see if there is moisture needed, you add some water to it. You keep it in a balcony or garden area at your house. You can even utilize that in apartments. So we have more than 300 customers of Eco Khamba in Karachi only. And we are now also transporting it to Lahore, Islamabad. So it's difficult to transport, but we are trying our best because it's made of terracotta, so it breaks if we transport it to some far place.
You guys produce yourself?
Yeah, we get it made in Karachi only.
Okay.
So
okay, so you're providing awareness sessions to corporates. You are also producing your Eco Khambas, so a compost pot. You're making compost. Those are all 3 different, or maybe 2 different categories. One is, of course, on the product side that you're actually producing, and one is towards the service side. which is just providing awareness. And of course, that awareness is actually the key or the base or the seed that you're planting towards a better mind that actually does think about sustainability. What are some plans with TrashIt that you have? Where do you, because yesterday we talked about a lot of things, so much potential. Where do you see this going? Where do you see it taking you in the long term?
Okay, so organic farming is a thing that is growing internationally at a very fast pace. So we are noticing a slow change coming to Pakistan in recent times. So this will be a thing in Pakistan very soon. So we see ourselves on the right track, and since we are producing compost and providing to farmers, and we're seeing this scale in the next few years, and many more people coming to this segment and switching from the chemical fertilizers to organic fertilizers soon, because we all know actually that the fertilizer that we currently using is degrading the lands. So in Pakistan especially, 50 to 60% of the land is already degraded, and there's no other resort to replenish the soil other than using some kind of organic inputs, because we also know that chemical fertilizer did not exist 200 years before.
Yeah.
So
maybe we're still alive, right?
Yeah. So
maybe not as many people though.
True, but people are farming and having good yields as well. So everything was getting processed, and the inputs were all organic, nature-based, and they were able to produce wheat, rice, cotton, whatnot. So we are trying to get people on that track again, and we are very hopeful and committed to this, and we see this coming in the next 2-3 years.
So I see the vision. Okay. So I'll get back to this question. But before we actually do that, could you guide me on how big the problem really is? So let's say 1 trillion trees, we are trying to focus on the global problem, right? We want to partner with any and every organization that is there, that's working towards decarbonization or carbon sequestration. But like any organization that's actually doing that, we want to partner up with them and see what's missing or what's there that they need that can actually help them scale or grow. Because we don't want to plant a single tree. I mean, we are planting it, but our sister company is Trillion Trees will not be planting any trees itself. The whole vision is that any company that's, of course, again, sequestering carbon, we partner up with them and then help them grow. Our monetary goal, or like our goal in numerical values, is 1.2 trillion trees impact annually by 2030. How do we... I want to get your perspective on this also, but if we talk about TrashIt and the scale of the economy that you're working in, so let's say someone is actually looking at this podcast and they're interested in investing in your business or working with you, what are some like monetary values that you can provide me right now with like the demographics of the country that you're working in, or the kind of sales that can be produced here, what behavior is changing that is actually going to channelize that capital or that energy towards your product? What is there? So like, let's start from demographics. What's the demographics of Pakistan? Okay, or Pakistan or any country that you're working in?
So if we talk about waste initially, so Karachi produces 12,000 to 15,000 tons of waste every day.
This is organic waste or no waste?
It's the total waste that it's
12,000 tons?
12,000 tons to 15,000 tons a day.
Okay, so let's take it to the minimum value, right? So
this is just solid waste that is generated. Besides that, there is animal waste and the waste that is generated from factories, that is not taken into account. So if we total that, so this becomes like more than 30,000 tons a day.
So the industrial waste, the household waste, and the agriculture or like the livestock waste out of Karachi is 30,000 tons.
Yeah, more than that.
How much methane can 30,000 tons produce?
A lot.
Oh, God.
So currently, I think not
I'm
even
gonna ask
half of it
ChatGPT.
is getting channelized properly. So,
Where does it go?
so
And is your vision to work with all kinds of waste or just
So we are mainly
organic?
focusing on organic waste. So
Okay.
the animal waste is also organic, and the 12,000 ton waste that we just talked about, 50% or more than 50% of it is also organic. Currently, there's no resort than dumping it on the dump site, because we see transporting waste is also a huge challenge. There's a lot of vehicle requirement, and the vehicle requires fuel, energy, drivers, and other infrastructure that comes along with it. So, what if we cut it down to half? So, we'll save like more than half of the cost of transportation and everything, and it's doable.
37,000 tons of CO2 emission. That is crazy. So you've talked about is your market only Karachi or is it all of Pakistan?
No, we're targeting all of Pakistan.
In just
Not
Pakistan, no other country, right? At the
So
moment.
we're also exploring to export compost to Middle Eastern countries. So there's huge demand in Saudi Arabia. We're also focusing on UAE. So we are talking to a few people in UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, and trying to get compost there, because they're also farming in those countries and using organic fertilizers. Currently, we are not.
So you're going to export it from Pakistan?
Yeah, definitely. The idea is to export it from here, but we can also build our facilities in those countries.
Yeah, because keep it local. We shouldn't focus on. I mean, yes, we want to help Pakistan, but not at the expense of the planet.
True.
No offense, but okay. So we've noticed some demographics, right? What are some metrics that you can justify your business by? Because if, let's say, a random person comes in, they might think that your business is a bit mixed up. It's a bit maybe lost, or there's so much more potential that can be achieved and there's just not enough. How do you justify that that thinking that, okay, TrashIt is actually doing something and the vision is so big that we're building our base, or again, whatever the story is, or the amazing story. I'm not trying to put anyone down or you, but just want to understand the whole thing.
Okay. So it's a very long story, so I'll try to cut it short.
And then just before we move forward, you guys are two co-founders?
Two.
So it's you and Anusha. And what does Anusha do?
So I look after the operations, finance, and legal part. Anusha is more into business development, client relations, and communications.
Awesome. And she's been with TrashIt since you guys have started working together? Awesome. Yes. So coming to the difficult question.
Okay. So going back to what we discussed earlier, that compost remains the center point. It is like the prime product that we are focusing on. But besides compost, we focus on some other activities as well to support the composting operations. Because in the last 6-7 years, composting operations was not profitable. Because we were creating awareness on
Not even
waste.
for you.
Right.
Like, are they not profitable in general or for you?
Not for us, because there was not. We were not able to create that market,
The volume
scale,
of sales,
that
right?
scale, yeah. So we're trying to support operations with other activities. So we had a eco store, TrashIt.pk. So we had different gardening products.
Oh, the physical store?
No, online store. So we had gardening products, and we were offering products in the category that helps you switch from plastic. So we had bamboo toothbrushes, metal straws, tote bags, and other things that were helping you switch to things other than plastic. So that category had more than 50 products, but we are slowly cutting down on that because again that was too much to manage for us. And we also have corporate engagements that we discussed. So we were offering these workshops, community awareness sessions. We went to corporate giveaways as well. So that is also a big chunk that we cater to. So we are trying to cut down on that too, and maybe make it a separate business overall. So with TrashIt, we still want to focus on compost and waste, especially organic waste. We're also exploring other ways in composting. So there's one thing like enriched compost.
Like vermicompost?
No, so enriched compost is like you make compost for a specific crop. So let's say if you are growing rice, you need zinc. So you can add zinc on top in compost and use it for rice farming. And similarly, the other crops that needs specific requirement like phosphorus, nitrogen. So we can make that mix specific to the farmer's needs. So we are working on that. And as you mentioned about the carbon sequestration part, so we are exploring biochar.
Yeah.
So biochar mixed with compost makes a great mix for carbon sequestration.
Yeah.
So we are working.
It does.
Yeah. So we have a German expert on board with us.
And then you can actually claim carbon credits against that.
Definitely. So we are working on that in the back end, and we have a German advisor on board. We are working with her. We have an MOU with a German firm who works on carbon credits. So that is something that we are keenly looking into, and hopefully things will turn out good in that direction.
Just had a conversation with a gentleman 2 days ago who's working on biochar on a mass scale in Canada. He wants to scale. I mean, I'll connect you guys. Maybe you guys can cook something up.
Sure.
But no, he'd been telling me that you should share the idea with more people in the community and see what can be done. And then I mean, this is great. I'll just connect you guys as well.
Thank you.
So we were talking about the demographics. What kind of a market really is the compostable agriculture waste or fertilizer or whatever natural fertilizer that you're producing or anyone's producing? How big is the market globally if we talk about that?
Okay, so internationally, the compost market size by 2023 will be $11.83 billion.
How big is it right now?
Currently, it stands at around $6 to $7 billion.
Wow.
So it's growing at a CAGR of like around 8-9% annually.
That is crazy. And if you look into, let's say, Pakistan, you were just mentioning that demand is actually growing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a number of how much it's growing, but if there is a number, please do share that. If not, then please, because you've been in the market, your perspective would actually count of how fast is it really growing.
So I don't have a number to put onto it because that's something that the Department of Statistics should be doing. But
I'm sure they are doing it. We just don't have it.
Yeah, so we don't have the number right now, but as per the practices that we have been noticing around us, so people are actually moving to organic practices. They're not wasting the agri waste after the land is harvested. They're trying to repurpose it because normally what happens after we harvest sugarcane, so they burn the crop because it's really difficult to get rid of that residue. That residue after the harvest, and it's very costly. So what they do is that they quickly burn it and then get ready for the next crop. So with burning, what happens is that the nitrogen in the land is like comes to close to zero. So
nitrogen burns, right?
Yeah. So that really degrades the land. So the microorganisms that are on the topsoil are lost, and it takes a lot of time to regather them. So I think we with that practice we will not be able to farm in the next few years, because we mentioned earlier that 50 to 60% land is already degraded, and we are headed to more degradation in future if we are not changing our practices. So lot needs to be done in this category, and we need to help the farmers improve their yields, maintain their soil health.
There's so many solutions, so many problems, but there's so many solutions. How does one know? Let's say I'm talking about me being a consumer. How does one know what's the best solution out there?
So there can't be one best solution.
Yeah, exactly, because that might have been an observation that you must have had, right? You've been doing this for so long. At least you've been the most vocal about it. And so that does mean that you've had so many conversations. How does one actually take your findings, and do they implement it, or do they just listen to you and get lost?
Okay, so there's no one solution to it. Okay, so there are multiple solutions that can be worked on. So we are focusing on one solution. So we're making compost from organic waste, and we're exploring biochar segment. The other solution can be biogas. So we have tried a few times. Actually, the government has tried a few times to venture into that, but they've not been in terms with the other partners as it should have been. But they have been trying, and I think there's huge potential in the biogas segment.
I believe so.
As we were discussing that livestock waste is like more than 500 million tons a year.
Correct.
So that's a huge number.
It's cows and buffaloes. You're not counting the goats.
The goats, the horses.
The horses.
and
we don't have a lot of horses.
Yeah, but we do have
we have more donkeys.
We have more donkeys, in fact. So we're not counting them, but still we have like more than 500 million tons of waste a year. So that's a huge number to look into. So even if we're able to tackle to 20% of that, so we'll be producing hell lot of energy in that sector. So there'll be no shortage of gas.
No, I was just trying to do a calculation. So I made a video on biogas and posted it. I got a lot of traction, but the whole concept of that video was that the amount of capital that Pakistan is sending, with all of its on the verge of being bankrupt and all of that happening, we're still buying natural gas.
Yeah.
And investing billions and billions of dollars. I will be Trump right now. Billions and billions of dollars sending outside Pakistan, which shouldn't be going outside, where we do have the potential to create an exactly equal amount of methane gas that can be burned for the exact same amount of time annually, which we're importing.
We can save those billions of dollars that currently we're sending.
Forget about the money.
Yeah.
Think of the hundreds of thousands of jobs that they create.
True.
The new economy that you actually create within this country. The amount of perspective that you change. And the best product that I personally think that comes out of biogas is the wastage. Is the slurry. You have to waste it somewhere. And if you're wasting it on our agricultural lands, that is just going to be the best thing for this country.
The dream come true for the farmer.
Right? Not just the farmer, but everyone. The amount of more carbon that we will be able to capture.
True.
The amount of methane that is actually, or the dead bacterial particles that's actually going to be helping so many organisms. And so it's just crazy to think about the beautiful oasis that shit can make.
Because if you're using that processed cow dung, so it helps the soil really quickly. What happens now is we use that raw cow dung that is not decomposed properly, and we use it in the field. It takes like 6-8 months to decompose, and
because of all the methane.
Yeah, and produces that harmful gas as well, because it is decomposed in an improper manner. And there are many weed seeds inside that. So that is also detrimental to the land. What happens is when you, let's say, are growing cotton, so the cotton plant actually takes about like 20-30% of the fertilizer that you're putting in. The other fertilizer is taken by the weed. So you're wasting a lot of resources in that manner by using cow dung. And since this is like an exothermic reaction, so a lot of seeds are also burnt during the process. So the yields therefore are low and the seeds are lost in the process.
Which thus quantified to us or this country using less and less of cow dung.
Yeah.
So we have less use cases for cow dung now.
So what we are trying to establish is that if we process it, we are like targeting a whole new different economy. As you mentioned, that on one hand you're getting gas, and then on the other hand you're like fertilizer, processed fertilizer that is like useful for the fields.
Yeah. So I know I've been taunted a lot for bringing this up all the time, but I did go to MIT for a cramp, and the program that the pitch that I did was biogas.
Nice.
So our plan was to make a cluster of 5 villages where we collect cow dung from the households and the cattle farms in those 5 villages. We collect it in one central location that is accessible to all of them. And then of course in the middle of an agriculture field, we process it for biogas. So we create the methane, and we're giving out the methane or converting it into electricity by running a generator for free to the person who's actually providing us the biogas, and we're selling the slurry.
Yes.
So I was only 16, so I don't know if my numbers were right or wrong, but we had a 2 years return on investment.
Awesome.
With our staff being on 1.5 times the minimum wage. So it just made sense. And with our school even right now, the kind of for me, because I had that idea then and I've solved that solution, at least on paper, it's gonna live on with me for all my life. So even with our school, because we force our kids, our students to solve so many problems every single day, it's living with them. So we're actually creating problem solvers. Those problem solvers are gonna have those solutions in their minds for all their lives, and they're actually now working towards their execution, and they're creating their startups, and they're failing, but they're also, some are succeeding and some are making money, some are losing money. But I'm sorry to get off topic, but the thing that I'm trying to say is the kind of solutions that we have is crazy. The amount of potential that is there in this country is crazy. And talking to people like you who are there in this crazy place, doing crazy things, and actually having a clear vision, a good vibe, and still striving for better. It's really inspiring. So I know I thanked you in the start, but I really want to thank you again.
Thank you so much
for all your efforts, because you are bringing so many happiness to so many people. I've seen so many people that have been part of TrashIt, and now at least they've planted some trees somewhere other than TrashIt's initiatives. So you guys are making a lot of bringing a lot of good to the city. Now I want to ask about, because I want to do this publicly. I want to maybe see if we have a good response or not in this podcast, and then see if we can continue this segment in all of our podcasts. But I told you about Trillion Trees. I told you about what we're doing and how we want to do it. What's your take on it? Criticize it as much as you can.
Okay. So I didn't see it coming. So yeah. So I think Trillion Trees is an excellent initiative. Since you said that you're not planting trees yourself, you're facilitating the process. So I think it's a great initiative overall. And we also saw a few places where you have planted a lot of trees. or in fact facilitated the plantation of those trees. So I think Pakistan needs it a lot, and that one carbon project that we have right now, so that is based on the forest. So maybe some kind of carbon project comes out of that initiative, and definitely that will come as we progress. So I'm really happy to support trillion trees move forward as quickly as possible from my end, and definitely you also.
I know you're a well-connected guy, you're a smart guy. I know you've already helped me in a few ways, and I know I mean, I would want to formally announce our partnership and like our MOU, but we'll just sign it digitally,
Signed.
We're done. So we signed our MOUs right here. But there's so many different businesses out there that are striving for more. And the most common practice that we see because I was engaged a lot with startups, the most common practices with projects or with initiatives that we see, whether it's for profit or not for profit, is that people lose hope. And they fall back, or they drop out, or they stop it very quickly. The most inspiring thing that I saw in this person and their initiative was that they've been consistent for a very long time, and they still have that drive to move forward. One last question from Rahul, and I hope you can speak, or maybe you can speak on behalf of your co-founder as well. What's something that's been like been making you still going?
Okay, so the vision behind TrashIt, it started off with the waste that we see in our everyday lives. We both were living in Karachi, and we used to see it every single day as we move around. So that was one thing that was disturbing us a lot, and we wanted to do something in that category. That is what is also driving us today. So we are working tirelessly in that waste category, and we want to get rid of those dump sites and stuff and build it on a household level that they are able to segregate their waste at source. Because when we talk about solid waste, if you're not segregating it at source, it's getting mixed. So recovery is sort of impossible after that stage. What we need to do is we have to sort it at a household level, or at a factory level, or at a kitchen level, may it be a household, restaurant, or anywhere. So once it gets mixed, within 24 hours or even less than that, it starts to decompose and starts to smell. So it becomes impossible to segregate it after it is collected. So an efficient way would be to segregate it at source, channelize it in a manner that the organic waste is getting composted, and that compost will definitely then help in farming. So if you are composting at a household level, you can use that compost in your own garden. So it saves your cost, the disposal cost as well, and the fertilizer cost as well. So benefiting in two ways. So I think we are trying our best to take it to the community level.
Why?
Why not? Because if you're not doing it at a community level or a household level, so the change will not.
Why do you want the change?
We want to see our streets, environment clean. We want a healthy living environment. You don't want it. Everybody needs it.
Everyone wants it.
Everyone needs it. Yeah, it's a dire need.
I think the energy you guys have. If anyone wants good energy when we live in Karachi, hang out with this guy and these guys.
Anytime.
But it's really beautiful what you guys are doing. I'm here to play my part if I can to make it grow, and
I think it's everyone's responsibility to play their part, and they should come forward and build collaborations with people around or people working in this category. So reach out to us. We are more than happy to talk to you, collaborate in any way possible.
So Rahul has said it. It's everyone's responsibility to help him. So please help him. But again, so I think it's been a very amazing and fun, but also informative conversation. Again, the main motive of this podcast was to get to know more about you, about TrashIt. Of course, my selfish reason was to learn about what he thinks about trillion trees. But I think there's a very long way he's going to be going. So do follow Rahul on all mediums. He's a great friend. He's someone who's doing so much for the society, for the communities, and people who are living in different cities around Pakistan, but also outside Pakistan, different communities. I'm sure this is a guy who can actually share his playbook to help you grow as well, because everyone growing as a community, as a society, is only going to help everyone else, like you necessarily. So is that something that you will be able to offer?
Definitely, I am always available to connect and help people. And thank you so much, Saad, for having me here today. It was really a great discussion. We got to share a lot of things. So hopefully the message gets across and more people are into it now.
Yeah, hopefully our behind the scenes don't get leaked out. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.